Hi everyone, welcome back to another reading vlog. It is that time yet again, monthly romance readathon hours. So excited. It's a Wednesday. We're doing a little midweek vibe this time. I had like a super productive morning getting all my work out of the way so that I could dedicate the rest of the day to reading romance. Thank you. So as I'm sure most of you know, each month my friends Chloe, Kevin, Jamie and I do a 24-hour readathon where we read only romance books. And it honestly gets me through. It really just gets me through the grind of daily life, whether it's a stunning romance, whether it's like a cringy funny one, whether it's dramatic. Like there are just so many romance routes to take and it's great fun to do lots of like buddy reading and like rereading, like exactly. So the TBR this time actually does include a reread for me. I'm going to be rereading Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, one of my favorite authors. I've only read this book once, but I absolutely adored it. She is just such a talented and unparalleled author in my eyes, and there are characters in here that I adore. I remember being so impressed by the story, and I remember reading this so quickly after I first read Normal People because I obviously wanted to read every Sally Rooney I could get my hands on. And I can vividly recall starting it one evening just thinking, oh, I'll just start it, and I read like over half the book and then I was like, you have to sleep now. You have to sleep. So I know it's going to be super easy to just get it all done in one go once again. What's also very exciting is that Kevin and Chloe are going to be reading Conversations with Friends this readathon for the first time in preparation for them reading Beautiful World, Where Are You? So I'm definitely excited to see them experience it, spreading the Sally Rooney joy, the Sally Rooney vibes. That's what it's about. I'm also hoping that I'll get to Open Water. This is by Caleb Azuma Nelson and it's meant to be absolutely gorgeous. It's a very short book. I think it's actually less than 150 pages. Written in second person and apparently that's very well done. Jamie and Chloe both adored this, so there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that I will too. Beautifully written is what I hear, and it'll also have just more of that contemporary, perhaps somewhat tragic, melancholic vibe to it rather than just like a fun like college romance or whatever, you know. Conversations with Friends is also quite a melancholic book, so maybe it's melancholic romance vibes today. And then I'm also hoping to get around to Equivalent Exchange on my Kindle. This is, I think, more in the vibe of those classic sort of new adult romances. Meant to be really fun. I've seen super good reviews and I had it on my Kindle, so it's gonna happen. And I think that Chloe is going to be buddy reading this one with me, so lots of books in common as always. The author is Christina C. Jones, by the way. So those are my plans. Hopefully 3 stunning books. I know this is stunning. I'm heavily convinced this will be stunning, and this has good reviews too, so could be a 3 out of 3 winning situation. I'm not too sure what I'm going to start with yet because we obviously want to try read Conversations with Friends at the same time as Kevin, even though time zones obviously make that difficult. At the moment he's still awake like an absolute king. He actually was like, I'm gonna go to sleep, and then he joined the FaceTime again in the dark, and now he's reading, so he's starting his read of Conversations with Friends, so perhaps I will start off with that as well. Like I said, I have read it before, but I did not annotate that time, so I'm thrilled at the prospect of being able to annotate this time, and there's always something really satisfying about annotating upon reread because you can have a very specific system in mind. For example, I already know I'm going to have a specific tab color for the character of Bobby, who I love, and I might have some like other character tabs going on, some certain story tabs, all that fun stuff. Let's start reading.
I up the energy as soon as the camera turned on.
It was actually because I'm listening to a song, Pinky. God!
Guys, Kev's real into Conversations with Friends.
I'm having my moment because, you know what, I'm reading Conversation with Friends while also having conversations with friends, you know what I mean?
Exactly!
But also, like, me saying that, like, I'm reading Conversation with Friends while also having conversation with friends is the same equivalent of, like, cinematographer that want to be cinematographers.
Cut the cameras! Hi team, so I have hit the 50-page mark. I'm up to chapter 7, which is page 52 in my edition. Lots of tabs going on. What I've ended up doing with my tabs is pink and purple as normal, pink being moments I love and purple being writing and prose that I really love. I've used blue for the character of Frances and then orange for the character of Bobby because I think those colours fit their vibes rather perfectly. And then as normal I'm using green for funny moments, and then I'm using yellow for anything else that I want to highlight. So basically things that are interesting or things that are of note but don't necessarily subscribe to the other categories that I've got going on. Kevin's now gone to sleep, but he's really enjoying the book and I'm really having a good time rereading it as well, picking up on a few things that I remember not paying a great deal of attention to the first time. It's just so gratifying and rewarding to re-experience art and media. I love rereading, I love rewatching, honestly probably more than experiencing stuff for the first time. I love revisiting it, just hits different. Whittaker's is the best chocolate in the world. It's a New Zealand brand, but if you have it where you are, buy the entire supply, you won't regret it.
No fun fact, you didn't get me any when I went to New Zealand.
Yeah, that was really rookie of me, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, it's okay. Obviously we have more opportunities, like, yeah.
Here we go. So I'm halfway through now, 150 pages in, onto part 2, as you just saw, and this book really hits, and not necessarily in like an emotionally gratifying or satisfying way, but in a kind of like more perhaps bleak and almost too authentic way. Like, it's definitely not an easy read. Hearing Chloe talk about it more, I'm realizing how different normal people and conversations with friends really are, though of course there's still a very distinctive Sally Rooney authorial voice, and I think you can definitely draw parallels between Frances and Marianne in terms of perhaps more like characterization than behavior. There's just a lot about them that's very different. It's almost like a yin and yang vibe. They're the kind of two almost emotional extremes on the spectrum that Sally Rooney can make the reader feel. And Chloe's like and it's a lot. I think it would be like a very interesting question to ask people, like, do you prefer Sally Rooney normal people or Sally Rooney conversation with friends? Like, are you a cat person or a dog person? Like, it's a very polarizing vibe. And like, even within the Powerpuff Girls, like, we have that diversity, you know, like Jamie is the conversations with friends girly, and I have complete faith that both Kevin and Chloe will be normal people girlies, as am I. But it's a really interesting look at human nature and perhaps the more sinister sides of it, whereas I think normal people is a look at how beautiful love is, but how much else going on in the world and within oneself can like ruin that. Yeah, it's definitely a different reading experience than when I first read it, because like I mentioned, I read it so quickly the first time. I was just devouring it mostly at surface level just for the story. So to reread it and be sort of taking my time, and then like obviously seeing Chloe read it for the first time, it's just a heightened reading experience. I feel like I have lots of sort of like peripheral and like rear vision goggles going on, like lots of visibility over the process. Really not our normal romance readathon vibe. Very different.
Very different.
Very different. Sad girl September. Exactly the setup. Yeah. I finished. Wow. Hello, I'm too tired and also low-key just too emotionally drained to talk about conversations with friends tonight, so I'll do that later. But I am gonna start reading Open Water now. We'll see how far I get into it, because like I said, I am sleepy. But hopefully she'll grip me by the throat and I'll read.
I was gripped from page 1, so hopefully.
Oh, Miss Chloe was gripped from page 1. Let's find out. Hello, it is the next day. I'm quite tired because I was tired already last night by the time I finished Conversations with Friends and then started reading Open Water, which I am loving. But then we actually decided to do a cheeky little fortnight stream, so by the end of that it was like close to midnight and I was absolutely knackered. So it's around midday the next day now. I had to do some, you know, work, girl boss type things this morning, but I think I've largely got that out of the way now. And in between those tasks, I actually did find time to join a FaceTime for a while, do a little bit of reading with the girls, during which I actually started reading Equivalent Exchange on my Kindle. So Chloe and I had intended to buddy read this, so we decided to both start it at the same time, and wasn't really it, to be honest. We got about 15% of the way through and basically had been silent the whole time, and that's when you really know it's not the vibe, because honestly, when Chloe and I are reading something good, or any of us are reading something good on FaceTime, we're just constantly like, oh, exactly, yep. You know, when there's radio silence, that the book is not hitting. The book is not hitting. Chloe was like, honestly, DNF vibes. And I was like, yep. A few moments earlier, I'd been like, Chloe, I miss the Spanish love deception. And I think that's part of it too. Just having really recently read such a stunning contemporary romance. What's going to compare? Like, honestly, probably nothing. Equivalent Exchange just kind of got into the smart really quickly, which, like, sure, sometimes I'm on board with that, but I think in this particular instance I needed the chance to build up a bit of a emotional connection type vibe, and that just wasn't there. And then after that moment it got real like heavy about bourbon or something, like just talking about the guy's business, and I was like, not what I'm here for. Like, it's not what I'm here for. That's not the build up I want, and it just wasn't really speaking to us, so we decided not to put ourselves through that, put it down. So I think for remainder of today I will be focusing on finishing reading Open Water, which I am just blown away by, and I'm not even 20 pages in. I already have several tabs because the writing in this is extraordinary and so unlike anything I've read before, especially because it is written in second person, which I have not read for a very long time and have never really been very exposed to in literature. The way that Caleb Azuma Nelson phrases things is just so unheard of for me. I think it's just remarkable and totally fresh, really romantic and lyrical, and I'm so excited to keep reading this. Part of me wants to savor it, but I know that I will happily end up devouring it. Now, we do have to talk about the girlie. We do have to give her the respect, the time and the spotlight that she deserves. I just love this book. Look at all the tabs, and that's not even everything that I was underlining. That's only the things I chose to put tabs with. Like, that's just like the woman who raised me, if I'm honest. I had such an interesting experience revisiting this book and also watching Chloe and obviously Kevin read it as well. It's a very heavy and hard-hitting one, and there's definitely, you know, flashes of that in normal people, but this is a much more bleak melancholia, whereas the melancholia in normal people does have this kind of beautiful element to it because the romance is just so powerful and otherworldly, whereas in this book the romance is not meant to be something that you aspire to. It's not meant to be something that you're like, oh, cute moment. It's not what it's about. Really not what it's about. It's showing a more ugly side of attraction and appeal and the really complex and emotionally messy situations you can get into when guided by those powers of attraction. It's also very focused on the relationship between our protagonist Frances and the women in her life, including her ex-girlfriend and best friend Bobby, including her mother, including a woman who's kind of becoming like a mentor type crush figure for Bobby and is obviously involved in Frances's life as well. It's this very small scale but intricately woven web of different types of womanhood and behavior by women, which is then juxtaposed by a somewhat passive male character, the only real key male character in the story aside from Frances's dad. Chloe described reading this book in a really succinct and effective way, which is that when you're reading you kind of feel like you have a dark cloud over your head, and that's honestly kind of the vibe. Don't go into this lightly, even though it is extremely readable and parts of it are very relatable. It is full of tricky stuff and definitely packed full of things to be aware of if you're somebody who likes to explore trigger warnings before entering something, so be wary of that. But of course I absolutely recommend it, as I recommend all of Sally Rooney's work. Like, if she's your vibe, you will just love her, you will get her, she gets you, she gets us. It's just always so impressive and touching to me how so many people can read Sally Rooney and feel as though she's put into words something you thought only you felt. There's this really almost strange comfort in the idea that you think you're experiencing something in isolation or something that only you have dealt with, when in reality it's confirmed when so many people read the book that those struggles are in a way universal. To quote Kevin, power of literature. Obviously this is 5 stars, stunning. I'll be very surprised if this isn't 5 stars, because at the moment it is just absolutely gorgeous. I've been on such a stunning reading kick, honestly. I've read so many 5-star books this year and I couldn't be happier about it. I'll speak to you later once I've done a bit more of reading Open Water. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I finished Open Water and I've just been lying on my bed. It was amazing. I loved it. Beautifully written, unlike anything I'd ever read before. The perfect length. I think I definitely need to have a nap. But oh my god, read this. It's beautiful. Wholeheartedly recommend it. Gorgeous prose, really important, powerful story, gorgeous romance. Thank you. Can't wait for more from Caleb Azuma Nelson. So I think that'll be it for this round of the monthly romance readathon. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all the other girlies vlogs will be linked below. Kevin, Jamie and Chloe. Definitely watch theirs if you have not already. And we can't wait to see you again next month for Horror Romance Edition for October. Exactly. Might even watch a scary movie tonight, to be honest. I'm kind of feeling it. Oh, I gave Open Water 5 stars if I didn't mention that. 2 5-star reads. Exactly. Lots of love. Bye.